Imagine a power so absolute, it doesn't just turn heads. It literally topples empires and bends the will of the gods themselves. Beauty that started wars, humiliated goddesses, and earned immortality. That's our opening quote for today. And honestly, it perfectly sets the stage for what we're about to explore. Because in ancient Greek myths, beauty wasn't just some aesthetic preference. It was a weapon.
So, in today's explainer, we're counting down the top 3 most beautiful women in all of Greek mythology. But we're going to do something a little different here. I want you to act as the ultimate judge today. As we go through this list, we're going to break down the mythological stats of these legendary figures, kind of like we're reviewing scouting reports for the most powerful beings in antiquity.
Keep this question right in the back of your mind as we review the evidence. If you had to judge the ultimate beauty, who would you choose? We're going to dive deep into their unique origins, their specific features, and the incredible, world-altering weapons of these 3 legendary women. That way, by the end of this, you can make your final, definitive choice.
All right, kicking things off at number 3, we have Psyche, the mortal soul.
Now, what's absolutely wild about Psyche is that she wasn't a goddess at birth. She was just a regular mortal princess. But her beauty was so intense, so completely undeniable, that it crossed the line from natural right into the supernatural. I mean, look at the sheer disruptive power of her appearance. She was described as so flawless that crowds of people literally thought she was Venus walking on Earth. Imagine having a presence so commanding that people actively abandoned the temples of the actual goddess of beauty just to stand around and stare at you instead. That is a truly dangerous level of perfection.
Let's check out her mythological character stats. As a mortal princess, her wardrobe was surprisingly grounded. She's often depicted wearing just a simple white chiton. But her features, as they were captured in Roman frescoes, are what really set her apart. She had this luminous pale skin, dark wavy hair, and incredibly soft, youthful features. It was this gentle, radiant beauty that just completely captivated anyone who laid eyes on her. And her visual representation actually evolves in a really fascinating way. You see, the name Psyche literally translates to soul. Because of that, after she endures all her mythological trials, artists always depict her with these delicate, iridescent butterfly wings shimmering behind her. It's just the perfect visual representation of her name and the delicate, enduring nature of her character. To put a bow on Psyche's profile, we really have to look at her ultimate achievement. She was beautiful enough to make Love himself disobey his mother. Her beauty was so profound, it literally conquered the very concept of love. So keep her impressive stats and those shimmering wings in mind, Judge, as we keep our countdown moving. Moving right along to number 2, we've got Helen of Troy, the divine spark. We're stepping up from a mortal princess to a Spartan queen here. And unlike Psyche, Helen comes with a divine lineage that fundamentally changes the nature of her power. What I absolutely love about this is how the poet Homer handles describing her. Homer doesn't need to give you the ancient equivalent of an Instagram filter. He doesn't overcomplicate it at all. He simply calls her white-armed and states, as an absolute matter of historical fact, that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Her reputation literally does all the heavy lifting. Looking at her stats, it completely makes sense why her reputation was so untouchable. She was the daughter of Zeus, meaning she possessed a literal divine glow. Classical paintings portray her as tall and regal, with ivory skin, calm gray eyes, and long golden auburn hair. This wasn't just your standard human attractiveness. This was genetic perfection handed down directly from the king of the gods. And of course, she's universally known as the face that launched 1,000 ships. But it is absolutely crucial to understand the why behind that. The poets tell us it wasn't just because of some nice makeup or simple charm. It was because when powerful kings looked at her, they saw such absolute undeniable perfection that they completely lost their minds. And nothing illustrates this better than the extreme lengths men were willing to go to for her. On one hand, you have Paris, who willingly chose her over literal kingdoms. On the other hand, you have Menelaus, who burned the massive walled city of Troy to the ground just to get her back. This is beauty operating as a literal weapon of mass destruction. So, as our judge today, I want you to weigh this right now. How does a mortal like Psyche, who earned immortality, or a demigod like Helen, who caused a legendary war, compare to the ultimate standard? Because as incredible as these two are, they're about to be measured against the entity who literally wrote the rulebook. And finally, claiming the #1 spot, Aphrodite, the sea-born goddess. See, she wasn't a mortal who became divine, and she wasn't a demigod. She was the sea-born goddess herself, emerging fully formed and flawless right from the sea foam. She is, quite simply, the standard every other beauty was judged against. When we're talking about perfection in Greek mythology, Aphrodite isn't just participating in the conversation, she is the baseline. Every mortal or nymph who claimed to be beautiful was unknowingly comparing themselves directly to her. Let's check out her visual breakdown. She's consistently described with fair skin and a voluptuous figure, draped in a dark blue ocean robe that echoes the waters she was born from and just dripping in fine gold jewelry. But notice the variations here. Depending on the specific city she was worshipped in, traditions paint her a bit differently. Sometimes strawberry blonde, sometimes with auburn tones, or as a blonde with striking blue eyes. Her beauty was so absolute, it adapted to become the ultimate ideal for whoever happened to be looking at her. She also had her signature look locked down. She wore roses in her hair, a myrtle crown, and was constantly accompanied by doves and swans.
But out of all these beautiful, serene symbols, there's one item on this list that served as her ultimate mythological superweapon. And that is the golden girdle. This wasn't just a heavy piece of fine gold jewelry. It was a magical accessory that guaranteed absolute, universal desire from anyone who looked at her. Talk about an unfair advantage woven right into your outfit.
Which brings us to my absolute favorite quote about her. She didn't compete in beauty contests. She rigged them. I mean, when you literally control the concept of desire, and you wear an accessory that forces anyone to fall for you, you're not a contestant anymore. You are the undisputed architect of the game itself.
So, let's recap the legendary achievements unlocked by the sheer beauty of these three figures. We have Psyche at number 3, whose supernatural mortal beauty won her literal immortality. We've got Helen at number 2, whose divine glow won a legendary war. And at number 1, Aphrodite, who simply won everything.
All right, the evidence is officially on the table, and the gavel is in your hands. It's time to step into the shoes of the modern-day judge. Based on their stats, their origins, and the sheer destruction or devotion they caused, who actually holds the ultimate power of beauty? Psyche, Helen, or Aphrodite? Drop a 1, 2, or 3 in the comments right now and defend your choice. And here's a final thought to chew on. If beauty in the ancient world was considered a dangerous divine weapon, what does that say about how we idolize it today? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.